All right, all right. Eyes Open Media. What's going on, Eyes Open Media? Well, it's the what is this? It's April 2017, and well, let me turn this down because I'm hearing myself. Hold on. There you go. All right, all right. So I was just hearing myself, so I had to turn that down, turn that off. I am live, Eyes Open Media, 420. I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. That's not what we do over here. So anyways, always a lot of crazy events that go on this date. As I mentioned on the main channel, Currency 365, on the video I just did over there about the 250 IQD notes and the which gives us about a loaf of bread now. It looks like so it went from 924 down to about 250 is what they're saying now, and that's over there. So that's the price looks like it's dropping in country. But we haven't seen any proof of that, on the CBI or anything else. We're getting statements from people saying, look, the price is this now. Now, of course, if you know people in Iraq, all you have to do is just ask them, hey, what's the price of a loaf of bread? Is this article correct? Matter of fact, article to Iraqi Day and Hadir to see if that's even correct, because they're in Iraq. So they should know what the price of loaf of bread is, right? But let's get into, let me go over here. You guys are not going to be able to see this, but let me go over here. And I'm going to go to the map here. It's not the updated map. We don't have the updated map yet, but let me see. I'm going to talk about Abadi, because why is Abadi all of a sudden giving us this, revelation of, okay, it's time to liberate. It's time to liberate Iraq. It's time to give the full liberation of Iraq. Now, remember, back in September, Obama, former President Barack Hussein Obama, came out and told us that he expected it to be done in September, and he had no clue why it wasn't done. Remember, back in June and July, Fallujah was completed. So when Fallujah was completed, all we had left was Iraq. Okay, and so from June, July, basically late June 2016 till April 20th, 2017, the only city left in Iraq to be liberated is Mosul. And there's 1 million troops in that area. There's U.S. forces, there's British forces, Chinese forces, there's Russian forces, Turkish forces, Australian forces, France forces. I think there might be even some Swiss forces. And give me some Swiss cheese and some Swiss, some nice Swiss sandwich, But thousands or maybe even 1 million forces in that region, and Iraq has only one city left for almost a whole year. One city. They can't get this city in 1 year. That's embarrassing. I'm trying to put it a different way, because it's not embarrassing. It's embarrassing to the troops, but it's not embarrassing. It's corruption, right? That's basically what it is. Hold on, let me put this. Can you all hear me? Let me put that up on here to make sure. Okay, so so that's embarrassing. So we know that it's corruption, because we got Fallujah done in like 4.5 weeks. If we can get Fallujah done in 4.5 weeks, then we can get Iraq done in 8.5 weeks, right? So there's no reason why Iraq is still not liberated. Obama said that Iraq was going to be liberated. Mosul was going to be liberated in September of last year, which was totally wrong. And Obama got a lot of things wrong. That's why we kept going after him, and people didn't like that we were going after him because of his color of his skin. But you got to remember that the elites use people that look like you to destroy you. I can't understand why colored people don't understand that. All your life, have used people that look like you to destroy you. So here's Obama telling us that September, September. Somebody, okay, so no one wants to put in the chat they can hear me or not. Okay, so I guess everybody can hear me because no one's putting in the chat that you can hear me. Okay, that's fine. So Obama in September says we're gonna have Mosul back. We don't have Mosul back. Okay, so then we hear from Abadi saying we're gonna have Mosul back by December, after the presidential elections. And okay, so then Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton start talking about Mosul during the presidential elections, and Donald Trump saying, why don't we have this city back by now, right? Why don't we have this city back? Why don't we have this city back by now? Saying, well, making excuses. Well, we had to do this and that, and we're expecting to have it back by the end of the year. That was during the presidential elections, guys and girls. Said we are expected to have it back by the end of the year. Donald Trump said, why don't we have Mosul back by now? Why do we keep talking about Mosul and not just getting it done? Remember that? That was during the presidential elections. Here we are 6 months later, and we still don't have Mosul back. He now says in December, we're going to have Mosul. Well, first, Abadi said he's going to have Mosul back by the end of the year, going into next year, and it's going to be a year of liberation for the people. And I kept my promise. Well, guess what? He didn't keep his promise, because here we are in April, and we're still dealing with Mosul, right? So, and then Food Musoon comes out and says, yeah, Mosul will be done by the end of the year. End of 2016, Mosul will be completed. Remember Food Musoon coming out and saying that to several people. And so what happens is Alak sees that and says, okay, Mosul's about to be done. I need to prepare myself, and the CBI, I need to prepare us for lower notes and transitioning into the economic economy. And we saw Alak continue to talk about that over and over again. Alak is talking about the economic reforms and the economic recovery, and dropping the lower notes, releasing the lower notes, and all these stuff, right? Because he was excited. I don't know if he was excited, because remember, if Alak does this, he's a legend, right? He's the guy, the proxy governor in the CBI that no one had faith in, and he's the one that releases the new rate for Iraq and fulfills the prophecy of the Bible. Okay, he's a legend, right? So Alak was excited in December. He came out with so many articles saying we are ready to go. We got this new banking system. We got all this stuff here and there, and we are ready to go with the new economic policies and principles of Iraq, and the new rate and all this stuff. And then when January comes, they like, wait a minute, we don't have Mosul. And then Alak has to then come out to the world during January and say we have delayed the dropping the project to delete the 3 zeros. See, Alak was ready to go. He had to come out and tell the world that they couldn't do it because they didn't have stability and security. So that tells you right there that Alak was ready to go at the beginning of the year. But they didn't have stability and security because they had stopped the progress of Mosul. Remember, Abadi in December, mid-December, stopped the troops for 2 weeks in East Mosul. And then we finally got East Mosul back liberated in January. And then Abadi made a statement in December, we will have Western Mosul done and Mosul fully liberated in the month of March, right? Around springtime. So a liberation of Mosul in the springtime. I mean, beginning of spring, which is March. So he did keep his word on that, but it's not a full liberation. So now Abadi comes out, and all of a sudden, he doesn't care. The map's not showing a full liberation in the next 10 days. The Nineveh Command Center map, or the real map that's on Iraq TV, is not showing a full liberation in the next 10 days. So what is Abadi talking about? This is kind of weird, because he meets with the leaders, and he says, and they agree, announce full liberation of Mosul within the next 10 days. But yet the map, and they have 6 districts left. I don't know what these districts are. They're not telling us. You know probably one is Quam and Baj and Telahar and blah blah blah. But I mean, the way they're moving, especially in Old Mosul City, okay, on the Nineveh Command Center map. I mean, we're going till June on that map. You know what I'm saying? Like June for the old Nineveh Command Center. But the rest of the map we can get done by May 15th, like I said. But Old Mosul City, we're going so slow. You know, matter of fact, if you guys drop down you see on the chat box, if you drop down, you'll see a video. You might see a video that says Eyes Open Media map comparison video. I see a lot of green at the top, and you can look at that map. Tell me if that map is going to be completed in the next 10 days. All that white you see right there at the V shape and above and below. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen. So why did Abadi come out and say that? Why did they agree to give full liberation of Mosul, which won't be liberated on the map April 30th? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why he did that. Was he pressured into doing that, or was it because they're launching this UNIDP thing on May 1st, and they're launching some other stuff on May, and they're probably saying, hey, we got to have this done before we launch this, so just say it's a full liberation and let it go, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. Okay, so it's kind of weird what Abadi's doing. It's kind of weird that he met with the leaders and they picked a date, because the fact that they able to meet with each other when Abadi got to Mosul just a couple days yesterday, he was in Mosul. The fact that Abadi waited this long to meet these guys in Mosul, right, and then pick a date for liberation tells us that they could have picked a date back in February for liberations. That means that they could have picked a date at any time for full liberations of Mosul, because the map does not show that we're going to have a full liberation of Mosul, Western Mosul, on 4/30 in the next 10 days. So that tells us that Abadi been playing us the whole time, because he could have picked a date in March and said, look, we're going to just announce full liberation. And we're just going to pretend the map's green. You know, so why wait till, oh yeah, by April 30th the map's going, we're just going to announce full liberation regardless of the map's green or not. I don't believe if that map, if the Nineveh Command Center map is not fully green on April 30th, there's no way Abadi's announcing full liberation. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the map right now. They still got a lot of work to do. They got 6 districts they got left, and not one of them has even been close to being done today, right? Clear one, which was Tahar, I think it was what is it called? THA something. Hadia posted it on the Facebook group or Facebook page, Currency 365. So they did get that one today. I'm not sure if that is a district though. Let me see. Yeah, it is a district. It's THAWRA district. So maybe they only have 5 left to go. So maybe there's only 5 districts left. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the next 10 days. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick here before I move on. I think that the RV opportunity for the people of color regain their own superiority, and the elites know that, in my opinion. Well, it's gonna everybody that's involved is gonna be able to have some type of superior. I mean, some people are going to, and I'm going to get into it in a second here, with don't leave right after the RV. Basically, don't leave your job, you know what I mean, or your career right after the RV, because what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to think they're freaking God, right? And because they have all this money, and so that's going to get them into a lot of trouble, right? So let me see here. Kenny says, hopefully out of chapter 7 within those 2 months, like Abadi mentioned publicly. Yeah, so if Abadi gives us full liberation of Mosul by the 30th, we're going to be out of chapter 7. That means we're going to be out of chapter 7 in the first week or of May or the second week of May, they're going to announce Chapter 7 lifted. Remember, I told you guys, once we get Mosul fully liberated by Abadi, announcement, it's gonna lift Chapter 7, and he's gonna announce, and they're gonna be able to put the national reconciliation on Mosul, because they already activated the national reconciliation in most of the province already. So they're just waiting on Mosul, right? So full liberation, then the Chapter 7 lifted, national reconciliation in Western Mosul. All that's coming, all that looks like it's coming. According to Abadi, that's what's coming. According to Donald Trump, that's what's coming. So this will be annihilated in the next 2 months. So, which means that we have 10 days left in April, and then 31 days left in May. So, and I think he was meaning not just Iraq, but he was also meaning Syria and Raqqa. Now, there's other places in Syria, and not just Raqqa, as you guys saw on the charts, on the map. So I don't know why they don't care about the other areas. They only care about Raqqa, really. So I don't know what's up with that. Is Raqqa the capital of Syria? Or I thought that was Damascus. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's see here. It's in the Lord's hands. He has the ball. Just enjoy the ride and keep praising him. No. Then we used to say that. We used to say it's in the Lord's hands. It's not in the. It's not really. It's in the Lord's hands, but it's not at the same time, because they need to. Because if it was in the Lord's hands, He probably would have already done it, and we wouldn't be suffering like many people are suffering right now. People are losing their homes and stuff. The Lord doesn't want to see you lose your homes and stuff, so He would already have done it to save us, and also to make us move on from this Iraq that doesn't even believe in His Son Yeshua. Right? So if it was really in the Lord's hand, like really, then He would have already done it, because he wouldn't want us continuing to talk about this country and following this country that doesn't believe in His Son, right, Yeshua. So it's in the Lord's hand, but it's also in the hands of Iraq, because the government is corrupt, and we're all watching the government have to turn around. Because remember what I said before, when I used to make the videos in the park, in the basketball court, I said Iraq government and their people are the ones that are going to have to live day by day, with this new rate, with this new international status. So the Lord the Lord's watching, and God is watching, and the Holy Spirit is watching Iraq try to figure it out and get together. Now, the Lord might be putting people in the right places, so they can figure it out and finally get this thing done sometime this year. I don't know when it is. We're hoping it's very soon. When we going to hoop? Probably after RV. I'll probably hit me up in Miami or something. But anyways, so the Lord has power. God has power to do it, but there's no point on doing it still corrupt and having changed, because it doesn't make any sense. It would just be an even worse scenario for the country. So in the World Bank and everybody else, including us, we have to wait for these. They have to turn it around on their own. They have to see the damage. They have to see the corruption, and they need to then say, we can't live like this any longer. And that's what God is probably waiting on. God is waiting for them to finally see that they can't live in this corruption, and then boom, He'll get it done. You know what I mean? He'll tell Allah to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Or He'll force Allah to do it, right? So see the corruption for themselves. God doesn't move unless people move. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of us are struggling and going, man, when is this going to happen so we can move on with our lives? And so we're like, man, God, why don't you just put your foot down and do it? But God is watching that government and saying, these people are so corrupt and so bad. I have to change their hearts so they can be able to be stable when they do this, because this is a big thing. This is a prophecy being fulfilled. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, and they're playing with a lot of people's emotions. Yeah, especially the Iraqi citizens. Yep. So They're playing with people's emotions. They're playing with people's lives, livelihoods, all types of stuff, man. But they have to see that. They have to see the corrupt ways, and they have to, and then they have to change. And then once they change, then God can move quickly. So the second part about this, 'cause I'm not gonna be on here long. How long have we been on here anyways? I don't even know. So the second part is don't leave right after the RV, meaning your job. So if you have a job, if you work a 9 to 5, if you work a business, whatever the case may be, don't, when this thing takes place and when it finally happens, don't just leave your job. That's not so many people are going to make the biggest mistakes of their lives by just leaving their jobs. But they don't even know what that entails them. They don't know what that means for their psychological mind. Do stuff like, you don't do something that drastic, right? Now, what you could do is put in a 2-week notice and say you're going part-time. You want to leave slowly. You don't want to just walk out, and just say, "Oh, I'm rich now," or "I have money now," or whatever. Because guess what? When you go home and you're sitting there like, "Okay, I don't have a job, I don't have nothing to do," it's gonna ruin you. Because what you're gonna start doing is you're gonna start looking at those funds in your bank account, and then you're saying, "Okay, it's time to blow money." Basically, you're going to become a person that goes out and consumes a lot of products and other things or whatever you do because you're so bored, because you just abruptly left your job. You don't want to do that. Okay, that's the worst thing you can do is when the RV happens is just leave your job. Number one, everybody's going to know you. Everybody's going to realize that you got some money. Okay, that's number one. So that's a bad thing, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to leave abruptly because everybody gonna know you have money and they're gonna start calling you, coming to your house, all types of stuff like, "Yo, what's going on? Why you just abruptly leave your job? You know what I mean? You didn't get fired. What's going on? How much money? I heard about I heard the Iraq RV happen. You got a whole bunch of money." You don't want to do that. Number one. Okay. Number two, when the RV finally happens, take your time with it. I'm not saying just keep your I'm hearing people say, take 30 days, 90 days. Nah, if you want to get it now, if you want to get into the other other notes and stuff, the other countries, you don't want to take your time. You need to move, right? To get into Vietnam and the other countries like that, you want to move, right? Because you don't know when they're going to then go off as well and say, "Okay, Iraq did their thing. Now it's time for us to move quickly," right? So you want to move right after the RV and get things done and get into some other notes to make sure you have as much notes as you can for the other ones that maybe you set a goal out to have 100 million Vietnamese dong notes and some other maybe 100 million Korean notes and 100 million riel or Toman or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you've set out to do. Okay, but if you're only focused on the IQD, then yeah, you can wait and watch the price go up. If it comes out 1-to-1 or 150-to-1, then great. Then you can sit there and watch it and just smile. Or maybe you take a little bit of notes every day Maybe you go to the bank once a day. I mean, once every other day. And take a 25,000 note in or a 5,000 note in, a 10,000 note in, and just and while it continues to go up, you're just turning in some notes, right, as it goes up. And then once it hits 3 something, you turn in the rest of your notes. Plan. Many people are just going to rush in and just turn everything in at 150-to-1 or 170-to-1 or $2-to-1 or 125-to-1. They're just going to go in and rush in and turn it in because they're tired. They don't want to wait any longer. They see an opportunity. They made a great investment and they made a great return, and that's it. And they're done. That many people are going to leave their job and tell a boss, many people are going to tell their boss, F off, right? And that's not what you're supposed to do. Don't be that person, because what's going to happen is as soon as you leave your job abruptly, you have nothing to do. Now, if you have plans, if you've planned your whole life out for like the next, let's say 10 years, then that's something different, right? Many people haven't. We don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. But if you have a specific plan and you've told your family what you're going to be doing, as soon as this thing happens, fine, that's good. But if you don't, like most of us, like 99% of us don't, then don't leave your job. Okay, leave your job slowly phase out of it, and then figure, while you're phasing yourself out of your job, figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to live day to day, figure out what your budget is and things of that nature. Don't just abruptly leave your job, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna go crazy, because you got all this time in your hand now that you've never had your whole life. Since birth, you never had enough. You basically have never had time like you're gonna have after the RV, right? Because as a baby, you never had time. Somebody was always picking you up and kissing on you, hugging you, squeezing you. It was always sleep time, play time, and all types of stuff. Then when you got to little kid, it was always kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. You've been in school your whole life, right? then after school, you're working 9 to 10 hours a day. So now when this happens, you have 24 hours a day. You're just sitting there like, should I go to the mall today? And then tomorrow you're like, hey, can you hit me? And then you're calling your friends and like, yo, what's up? They're like, I'm busy, I'm working. I actually have a job, right? And so you realize that everybody's working. Everybody has a business except for you. And you're just bored out of your freaking mind, and that's the problem. You don't want to do that. So phase yourself out, slowly out of your job, and it doesn't put a spotlight on you as well. Because if you leave abruptly, everybody knows that something happened, you got into some money, because you ain't going to be leaving like that. And that you don't want all that attention on you. Okay, because people can then plan things against you and say, hey, I think that person, I think that they did tell me about Iraq, and I just saw that Iraq revalue. They got a whole bunch of money in there. Let's go get them. You know what I mean? So you don't want to do that as well. Okay. So, and then of course you don't want to be bored out of your mind, because that's what you're going to be. Okay. So, because just like me, when I was working the government contract and in the military, and then I became a government contractor, I was thinking of what I'm going to be doing. I was going to start, I was doing the YouTube stuff. See, I started everything before I left. Before I left, I started the channels. I knew I was leaving soon, so I started my YouTube channels. I started, looking online for different businesses and stuff. Started planning different things before I left, because I knew when I left, I'm going to have all this time in my hand, and I need to at least be busy doing something, earning some money, and then finding other ways to earn money online. And that's how I did it. Okay. I just didn't abruptly leave and then be like, what am I going to do now? Okay. So you don't want to do that even when you have millions of dollars, because what's going to happen is it's going to shock your mind, and then you're going to realize how bored you are, and then you're going to start buying all types of stupid stuff just to try to entertain yourself. Okay, so you want to have a plan. Don't be a lottery winner. Yep, you want to have a plan. You want to have a financial plan. You want to have vacations, maybe some places you want to visit. If you're going to be traveling the world, you want to have all that, at least the first 10 countries planned out, maybe. And where you're going to be going, who's coming with you, all types of stuff like that. But you have to admit, John, things have moved drastically behind the scenes. Yeah, they've moved on the banking side, but not on the GOI. Like the GOI still can't get any important laws done. They can't get I know they've been saying, look, back in December, they told us that the oil and gas law was going to be in the next legislation, and here we are with another article saying the oil and gas law is going to be in the next legislation. Okay, so and here we are in April, right? So behind the scenes, the GOI is still the GOI. They're still corrupt. There's the same people that just try to steal 50 billion IQDs from the peasants. Remember? Okay, so overall, yeah, they've progressed a lot, and let me see what you guys are saying here. Don't end up like some of these people who hit the lottery big and wind up broke up 2 years. Yeah, and the reason why is because they have nothing to do without anything. They didn't plan their life. And what happens is when you don't plan anything and you're not busy, like me, I'm busy online. I work at home. You know, I work around the world. I can fly around the world because I work online, right? I just got to have internet connection. But I'm busy. I'm in like freaking like 10 different programs online, and I do YouTube. I got 2 YouTube video channels. Well, I got more than that. I got the Currency 365 vlog channel now, but I haven't been vlogging or anything like that. I think that's gonna come later. But you know, like I got like 4 channels are the ones that are active, so that takes up all day. You know what I mean? Uploading the videos and stuff like that. And then I have MPCA, MPA, the ads team, BTC clicks, the ads leader. I have Zookle, all Zookle ad network. I got like freaking 15 online programs I'm in. So that takes up all day, all my day, right? I'm working like 10 hours a day online, you know? So I'm busy, you see? So that's good. Okay. And then of course I do decodings, and I watch other people's teachings. You know, I get on Periscope and listen to gospel teachings and prophets and teachings and stuff. And I do decodings online as well. So, you know, with teachers. So I scheduled all this stuff before I left my job. You know, most of the stuff was already done before I left my job, right? Or my government contract. And that's how we have to be. Do it slowly. Don't drastically leave your job. I know a lot of you guys are like, man, I hate my boss. Well, you know, don't drastically leave your job because your boss gonna know you rich, and he might, and if he hate you, he gonna come see you. He might be like, yo, this is my chance to. I'm either gonna come see you. I'm gonna have some people come see you. So let me see what you guys are saying so I can get out of here. A lot of people will end up being broke within 2 years. Yeah, the elites are betting that once they finally allow this to happen, within 3 years, 80% of the people are going to be broke because they're going to buy Lamborghinis, and which is you can buy Lamborghinis, but if you only have $3 million, you shouldn't be buying a Lamborghini, right? If you a Lamborghini is for people who have like $100 million, right? And or $50 million, you can buy a Lamborghini because it makes sense with the money you have, right? But if you have $10 million, you know, I wouldn't buy a Lamborghini. You shouldn't buy unless that's your only car, and then the rest you got like a bike. You know, maybe you got 2 motorcycles or something, you know, that are 5,000 a piece, right? So if you're gonna buy a Lamborghini, that better be your only car. Or why don't you just lease a Lamborghini for a year? You know, so then you're only paying the monthly payments. You're not spending $500,000 on the car. You're only paying maybe how much is it to lease a Lamborghini? $2,300 or something like that a month. So it's a big difference, right? Than $500,000. And then you can always switch up to every year. You can switch up to the newer Lamborghini every year, and you're only paying $2,300 a month. That's a waste of money. But if you got $50 million, then it's not a waste of money. You're at $50 million, right? But it is what it is. So it is, it says, I refuse to go broke. I will manage this money because of my financial future depends on it. Us become good stewards of this God opportunity, and I will also take financial classes. That's cool. That's my plan to lease it. Yeah. So you can lease the cars. So if you want 3 beautiful cars, why not just lease it? You know what I mean? Especially if you have $50 million, and you just lease the cars, right? And then a lot of you guys are going to be coming into the online programs, right? So many of you guys are waiting on Iraq to join these online programs, and you might set up shop on like 10 online programs. You might have 3 rev shares. You might have maybe 2 profit share programs. You might have 2 other types of businesses things. You might, so you might have 10 total businesses, online businesses, and you max them all out, because you have the money to do that. And then you're pulling out, let's say you're pulling out 30,000 a day. Okay. So you can use your money to make more money by maxing out these programs and start pulling out, dollars a day. And so, and that can be used for all types of different things, right? That bless people's lives and things of that nature. And that's what most of us plan to do, right? We plan on maxing out. This is why I'm in all these programs, because I plan on maxing them out, when I can, right? And especially after the RV, I want to max these programs out and then start pulling out, 20,000, 30,000 a day, right? So that and then maintain the systems. So that's how I want to do it. You know, I don't know. Some of you guys might do it differently. Some of you guys might not even work ever again. You know what I mean? Uh, and then, of course, we want to also make sure we're in gold and silver and Bitcoin and Ethereum and what else? And so whatever other cryptocurrencies that you guys might like that are coming out, maybe Litecoin and things of that nature. Buy things in ratio based off your total net worth. Okay. Sure, smart things. Let's see here. If you were new to this info, what's the first thing you would do? No ads, no crypto, etc. If you were new to this info, what's the first thing you would do? No ads, no crypto, etc. The first thing you would do if you were new to this info. Which info are you talking about? You talking about Iraq? I will be blessing in work as a musical missionary too. Oh, a musical missionary. I never heard of that. A musical? What do you do as a musical missionary? Then I'll get out of here. Okay, so if you were new to this info, what's the first thing you would do? Uh, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Because here it says new to dinar and new to crypto. New to dinar and new to crypto. If you were new to dinar, what would you do? Well, you would do what everybody else has done. Everybody else has studied, right? Everybody studies the articles. They study the plan. They study, the currency. They study Iraq. They study the numbers of Iraq. They study the no count. How much is in total value? What is the no count? They just put an article about that. And they study the government. They study the CBI. Who's in the CBI? That's what we do. Most of us, that's what we all did. We studied the actual different parts of Iraq, and then we put it all together. So I can hear you, bro. We have to be mentally smart with our money, regardless if you're rich or not. It's a mental thing. It's sad that many of people, regardless of color, that become wealthy and then be broke. Yeah, and that one of the things, Craig, that people have become broke is because and they don't put it to work. Money is supposed to work for you. Money is not supposed to just be spent. You know what I mean? Like, one of the biggest spenders is the black people. Black people, and everybody knows that. That's why they promote a lot of things to black people, because black people will just give away their money. Money is supposed to work for you. So if you get $10 million from the Iraq investment, take some of that money, put it in gold, put it in silver, put it in Bitcoin, put it in Ethereum if it hasn't exploded up by then, and then take some of the money and then put it in online jobs, put it in trusted online businesses that you can trust with a great track record CEO. Nothing's guaranteed, but the quicker you can max those programs out, put some funds in and max those programs out, and maybe you have 10 programs maxed out. Now your money's working for you, and you're pulling out way more money than you put in. Make sure that your money's working for you. You're not just spending money, but it's working for you. Don't spend the principal. Yeah, you can do that as well. But but the banks don't give you much money, and a lot of people don't put money in the banks, right? So if you got millions of dollars, a lot of the billionaires and millionaires don't have a lot of their money in the banks, right? They have monies in other places. So they got money. They got gold. They got gold votes, and they travel with gold, and then they exchange the gold for the local currencies and stuff. So we got to remember that as well. And remember, you got gold money. You can put you can put money in your gold money vote and buy and have gold in your gold money account. So if you don't have a gold money account, it's in the description section, so you can get a gold money account, gold money savings account. You want that. And then you can also, buy your silver from Silver Doctors or Jim Bullion or whatever the case may be. And of course, you can get your Bitcoin from Coinbase. The link's in the description for Coinbase. Or you can get it in any other cryptocurrency wallet, Poloniex, Zappo, Bittrex. What else the other ones are? There's a whole bunch of different ones. GateHub. Okay, so it is what it is. I think that's it, because I got to save my voice for the map update for the main channel. And Yeah, so it is what it is. And I did contact YouTube. I've been contacting YouTube all day today about the stupid that's been going on. So many people talking about this ad revenue, the drop in ad revenues and all types of stuff and viewings and stuff. But anyways, that's on the business side of YouTube. So spot on, Kenny. I was thinking the same thing. I hope you continue with advice at the RV. Uh, I mean, we're gonna talk about on this channel. We're gonna be doing teachings, and we're gonna be talking about financials as well. So we're still gonna be talking about financials and teachings after the RV. That's only one country. We still have Vietnam and South Korea and Indonesia and Iran. We can't talk about Iran because God already told us not to do that, to protect ourselves. So, but with the other ones we can. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, gold, silver, everything's still in. And then I'm pretty sure there's going to be something else that's going to come out. There's always something else that comes out to give us good opportunities to make money. So it is what it is. It could be profit sharing. It could be rev shares. It could be whatever the case may be. New technology that gives us a way to make money. The housing bubble, that's going to be giving us a lot of chances and opportunities when the housing market goes down. It's supposed to start this summer. We'll see if they extend it or actually start it this summer, and then from there, it's going to give a lot of us a great opportunity to buy up a lot of land. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to save my voice for the map update on the main channel, and talk to you guys later, man. Peace out. I'm out. Eyes open.